Pi is a terminal coding agent built by Mario Zechner, the guy behind libgdx, and the reason it exists is pretty simple. He liked Claude code, then watched it change under him release after release, with behavior he couldn't predict and context he couldn't inspect. So he built something small enough that he could read all of it. That idea landed harder than anyone expected. The repo is sitting at around 86,000 stars, with about 10,000 forks, and OpenClaw, one of the biggest agent projects out there, runs on Pi as its harness. The core is deliberately tiny. Pi ships 7 built-in tools, and that's it: read, bash, edit, write, grep, find, and ls. The whole system prompt is under 1,000 tokens in normal use, which is a fraction of what other agents burn before you've typed anything. That matters for money and for context. Less scaffolding in the prompt means more room for your actual code and fewer instructions fighting with whatever model you picked. What's missing is the interesting part. There's no built-in MCP support, no sub-agents, no plan mode, no to-do tracker, no background bash, and no permission pop-ups. Zechner's rule is that if he doesn't need it, it doesn't get built into the core. Everything else is supposed to live outside, as extensions, skills, prompt templates, or packages you install. So the tool doesn't grow, your setup does. That no permission pop-up thing deserves a warning. Pi runs with the exact permissions of whoever launched it. There's no sandbox holding it back. The docs are upfront about this and point you to 3 containerization options if you want real boundaries. An extension called Gondolin that routes tools into a local micro VM, plain Docker, or a policy-controlled sandbox called OpenShell. If you're pointing this at a work repo, think about that before your first run. Installing takes one command. On Mac or Linux, you can curl the install script from pi.dev, or just use npm directly with npm install-g -ignore-scripts, and then the package name at earendil-works/pi-coding-agent. That ignore scripts flag is intentional, since Pi doesn't need install hooks and they're a common supply chain risk. On Windows, you'll want WSL or git bash, because Pi expects a bash shell to be available. After that, you just type Pi inside a project folder. Now the model side, because this is where most people get stuck. Run/login, and you get a menu. Subscriptions work so you can sign in with ChatGPT Plus or Pro through the Codex path, which OpenAI has officially endorsed for open source harnesses. Claude Pro and Max also work, but read this carefully. Third-party harness usage bills against your extra usage per token, not against your normal plan limits. So it's not free just because you already pay Anthropic. GitHub Copilot, an X subscription for Grok, OpenRouter, and Radius are in there too. With an OpenAI API key, it's even simpler. You can export OpenAI_API_key in your shell before launching, or run/login, pick OpenAI, choose the API key option, and paste it in. Pi writes it to a file at tilde/.py/agent/auth.json with 0600 permissions, so only your user can read it. Resolution order goes the --API-key flag first, then auth.json, then the environment variable, then anything custom you defined. One detail I like is that the key field can be a shell command. Put an exclamation mark in front, and Pi runs it and uses the output, so you can pull straight from 1Password or the Mac keychain instead of leaving a raw key on disk. Model switching happens with /model, or you cycle through a shortlist with Control-P. You can pin that shortlist using the --models flag with a pattern like Claude-*. Thinking level runs from off, minimal, low, medium, high, x high, all the way to max, and you can attach it right to the model name, so something like sonnet:*high launches with high reasoning. The provider list is long, roughly 30 entries including DeepSeek, Grok, Mistral, Cerebrus, Together, Fireworks, Bedrock, Azure, Vertex, and Cloudflare. You can also run local models through llama.cpp with a /llama command, or point Pi at ollama or LM Studio through a models.json file. Typing in the editor has a few tricks worth memorizing. The @ fuzzy searches your project files and pulls them into the message. 1 exclamation mark runs a shell command and sends the output to the model. 2 exclamation marks runs it and keeps the output out of context, which is great for noisy commands. Control-G opens your real editor for long prompts. Control-X copies the last response, and you can paste images straight in. While the agent is working, you're not locked out either. Pressing Enter cues a steering message that gets delivered after the current turn finishes its tools. Alt-Enter cues a follow-up for after everything's done, and Escape aborts and drops your queued text back in the box. Sessions are the feature I'd sell people on. Everything saves automatically under ~.py/agent/sessions, organized by folder, and each one is a tree rather than a flat log. Py-C continues the last session. Py-R opens a picker where you can search, rename with Control-R, or delete with Control-D. Inside a session, /tree shows you the whole branching structure and lets you jump to any earlier message, edit it, and go a different direction, all in the same file. /fork does something similar, but spits out a new session file starting from an older prompt. /clone duplicates your current branch before you try something risky. One thing to be clear about, since it trips people up, branching changes the conversation, not your files. If Py wrote code and you jump back, that code is still on disk. Git is your undo, or an extension that snapshots for you. Commit before a big run, and you'll be fine. Context also gets smart when you abandon a branch. Py can summarize the path you left and attach that summary at your new position so you don't lose what you learned. Separately, /compact squashes older messages when you're running out of room, and it accepts custom instructions if you want it to keep specific things. /export writes the session to HTML, and /share uploads it as a private GitHub gist with a link. Project instructions layer from several places. Py reads agents.md or Claude.md from your home config, from every parent directory walking up, and from the current folder, so global rules and project rules stack. If you want to replace the entire default system prompt, drop a system.md into your .py folder. If you just want to add to it, use append_system.md instead. There's also a trust prompt the first time you open a project with local config, and your answer gets saved so you're not asked again. Skills follow the Open Agent Skills standard, which means a folder with a skill.md inside, front matter that needs only a name and a description, and then plain instructions underneath. Only the descriptions sit in your context at startup. The full file gets read when the task matches or when you force it with /skill: the name. The part most people miss is that you can point Py at skill folders from other tools. Add ~.claude/skills to your settings, and every Claude code skill you already wrote works here immediately. Anthropic's own skills repo and the Py-skills repo are both good starting points. Prompt templates are the lighter version. Drop a markdown file in a prompts folder and it becomes a /command that expands into the full text. Good for the same review checklist or commit message format you type 20 times a week. Extensions are where Py stops being a normal CLI. They're TypeScript files loaded through GD, so no build step, dropped into a folder, and picked up automatically. You get hooks on basically every event. Block a tool call before it runs, rewrite the arguments in place, modify the messages before each LLM request, mutate HTTP headers, or intercept a response. You can register new tools the model can call, new /commands, keyboard shortcuts, CLI flags, even custom terminal UI. Real examples in the repo include a confirmation gate for dangerous bash, git checkpointing on every turn, blocking writes to .env, and a snake game for while you wait. /reload picks up changes without restarting, and the docs straight up tell you to ask Py to write the extension for you, which mostly works. Sharing all this happens through packages. PyInstall takes an npm name or a git repo. PyList shows what you've got, and PyConfig toggles individual pieces on and off. The package library at py.dev/packages has things like context savers, sub-agent implementations, an MCP adapter, and web search, all of which are the features Py refused to build in. Beyond the interactive mode, there are 3 other ways to run it. -p prints a response and exits, and it reads piped stdin, so you can cat a file into it and get a summary in one line. Mode gives you structured events for scripting. Mode RPC speaks stdin and stdod for non-node integrations, and there's a proper SDK for embedding Py inside your own app, which is exactly how OpenClaw uses it. Compared to the alternatives, the trade-off is honest. Claude Code is polished and closed. OpenCode gives you automatic LSP and multi-agent sessions out of the box, and both do more on day one. Pi does less on purpose and hands you the hooks. If your complaint about coding agents is that you want more features, Pi will feel like homework. If your complaint is that you can't see what's in your context and the behavior keeps shifting, this is the direct answer to that. Alright, so that's it from the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like this video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.